Greetings everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host Captain Rye, and today's video comes to us from Storm Surge Alpha. And Storm Surge is playing in my favorite Tier 10 destroyer, the Tier 10 German destroyer, the Z52. Now, I told you guys that I would be coming back to World of Warships, and I didn't lie. This video from Storm Surge shows why I love the Z52 so much, and it also shows some of the problems that this destroyer has. As the battle gets underway, it's Shatter, it's Domination match mode, and Storm Surge is pushing out towards the A cap point. As you can see there, he's been located, so somebody has that skill on the enemy team. Now personally, Storm Surge, for my taste, when playing this destroyer, is a little too far forward. You could get away with doing this in a Fletcher very easily, but not so much in this ship, and that mostly comes down to the detection range on the ship. Right now, the detection range on this ship is about 0.3 kilometers greater than that of the Fletcher, the Gearing, and, well, any of the Japanese destroyers. So pushing out like this, if the enemy team has Japanese destroyers or they have American destroyers, high tier ones especially, and this is a high tier game, that means if they've got them, they can see you before you see them, so they're going to get that first shot advantage once they spot you. Now as he pushes up here, you can see there he's got a lead indicator on that enemy cruiser, and that cruiser does have radar, so you have to be careful of that. He gets spotted here, he opens fire because he is spotted, and that's going to be a Japanese destroyer here, and that's going to be a high school fleet destroyer there, who opens up on him, surprisingly enough. Now, Storm Surge is close enough to that Japanese destroyer to spot him just without that destroyer having to open fire. Now, as he pops his smoke screen here, he loses sight of that. That's how smoke screens work. But he pops his hydroacoustic. This is one of the consumables that I absolutely love on this ship here. You can see there, it's high-tier German cruiser hydro, so it can spot enemy ships up to 6 kilometers away, and torpedoes as well. So there you can see the torpedo indicator coming in through that channel there. Enemy team has managed to secure the C cap point. They're going to secure the B cap point with a little contention, but Storm Surge is taking advantage of the fact that this destroyer on the enemy team here managed to beach himself and had to back up. But of course, this whole time, even in the smoke screen, because of the hydro, he's still detected. He did get torpedoes away there, but Storm Surge sees him coming. He's going to go ahead and move forward. He manages to secure himself a first blood. Now, as he moves forward here, his team really needs to decide what they're going to do here, because the enemy team, as you can see, is pushing the A cap point pretty hard, and we know there's probably a destroyer, obviously, with the torpedoes at the B cap point, and he could be going anywhere as well. Of course, if he does come down one of these channels, it's very likely that Storm Surge will spot him with his hydro. But the big disadvantage, of course, with this ship is the fact that the smokescreen does not last long enough. It doesn't have a long smokescreen. It also is considered a wide ship, even though it's actually thinner than the Gearing, and it will soak up armor-piercing shells like nobody's business. It doesn't have as many torpedoes as its other Tier 10 counterparts, and they're not that long range at 10.5 kilometers. But they do reload like every minute. So you have a lot of torpedoes that you can send down towards the enemy, assuming you get close enough there. And you've got reasonable distance to go ahead and get those torpedoes out and away and cause some serious problem. Now Storm Surge is moving forward there, and there's the enemy Fletcher. Now that's a very dangerous boat, as you'll all know. And that Fletcher manages to run himself aground. And he's got himself a problem because he's got an Atago, or a Takao there, that's bearing in on him, but he's also got Storm Surge, whose hydro is still active, and he manages to secure that kill. But he also manages to get himself a double strike by killing one of the other enemy cruisers, or battleships, with his torpedoes. Well aimed with those. That poor sucker probably never even knew Storm Surge was there. Now, Storm Surge is in prime position to go ahead and start capping the B cap point. But you can see there he's being detected, but he's not directly detected. That's hydro or radar. I really wish there was some differentiation between the two with that icon, but it's disappeared now. That's probably radar. The enemy team has managed to secure, or I'm sorry, the enemy team has managed to kill a couple of ships here. Now, he gets detected. That's because this ship comes around that island there, pops up there, fires high explosive. Of course, he probably was the one with radar. He knew he was there. And that leaves Storm Surge in a really bad situation. Now, there are torpedoes coming in there. That's a bit of a problem, but he uses the island for cover. He backs in there. Now he can't see that ship. That ship, though, is going to continue steady on. That ship knows there's a destroyer here because he fired at him. But he doesn't know where, as Storm Surge has popped his smoke screen. And apparently he doesn't have his hydroacoustic available. So Storm Surge does manage to connect with a torpedo there. A couple of torpedoes there. Does cause flooding. That's good for him. It's going to stack up on the damage. You can see there that enemy Fletcher left a nice big smoke screen there. And of course it's an American smoke screen, so it's going to just linger there and be useful cover. Storm Surge very carefully kind of poking the B cap point. He obviously doesn't want to go in there and give away the fact that he's still here, but simultaneously, look at the situation. The enemy team is now in the process of capping A. Not only that, but they have B cap point, and C cap point is being contested, but it's mostly in favor of the enemy team. Of course, Storm Surge team has a very heavy, strong presence at the C cap point. So really, if they coordinate their push, they should be able to get in there and take it and hold it. Now, Storm Surge gets torpedoes off around the headland of that island. It might be a replay bug. I don't know if he was targeting any one of those ships down there or just taking a speculative shot there. But he's going to go ahead. He's going to use these islands for cover. He's going to kind of position himself, get around behind the enemy ships. He's keeping an eye out the other way for that cruiser that he hit with torpedoes because he doesn't want to have that situation happen again where he pops around from behind an island to a surprise face load of high explosive or armor piercing shells. The Z52 does have a significantly more fragile module system than something like the Fletcher or the Gearing, and you will have your torpedoes, your engine, your rudder, everything constantly knocked out. You can repair it instantly and still have it constantly knocked out. Looking at the situation with the minimap and seeing what's around him, Storm Surge is going to take the opportunity once again to try and secure the B cap point. The enemy team has managed to prevent his team from securing the C cap point, and because they've had the caps for so long, and because Storm Surge's team hasn't had any caps for quite a while, they are currently up on points, and they are still gaining points, the enemy team is, because they hold the C cap point. It's not being contested. However, the enemy team is down on ships. They've lost 4 ships, 3 of their destroyers. This means that Storm Surge's team has the destroyer advantage. And if that other enemy destroyer does get spotted, really, if you find yourself on a team in this situation, you absolutely must focus that destroyer down because it's paramount that you ensure you don't have to worry about torpedoes. Storm Surge manages to capture the B cap point. He gets spotted there as he opens fire on the cruiser that's at the A cap point. It was a little bit too late. The enemy team did secure the A cap point. Now, the enemy team is contesting the C cap point, but Storm Surge's team is still contesting as well. So Storm Surge is kind of in a good position here as he's right in between. He can either go and deal with and contest at A, or he can go and deal with and contest at C. But looking at the fleet situation, there's a lot less targets of opportunity over at C. There you can see on the minimap, the enemy ships that were over at C really for the most part have pushed way south, and his team is pushed way over as well. It's like they're trying to fight over those bits of real estate on the flank and not actually the bits of real estate that matter. So Storm Surge is going to go ahead and he's going to stay right here at the B cap point. Because, again, looking at the minimap, you can see that the enemy team at the A cap point, really, if they want to get in this battle and continue to push, they have to go to B. there's nothing for them to shoot over there. So they are going to come this direction, and Storm Surge is going to use this as an opportunity to get in here and get torpedoes and guns away. Now Storm Surge pops his hydroacoustic. He is detected. That's going to be the enemy's hydro or radar once again. But he's got his up as well. Now I know he is targeting that ship. This is a little bit of a replay bug here. He goes ahead, he pops his smokescreen. Really doesn't do anything so long as that radar or hydro is active. But you can see there that enemy cruiser is more focused on the other destroyer that's over there. And Storm Surge manages to connect with him, finishes him off, and takes him out of the game. And that was the cruiser that did have the radar that was up there. Fortunately, not a problem. Now Storm Surge has got himself an Alabama. The Alabama, not the best ship to try and torpedo, considering it's got a 51% damage reduction in its torpedo bulge. And the Z52 does not have very high damaging torpedoes. I think at most they'll do 12,000 damage. So here against an Alabama, they may do at most 6,000 damage, and that's probably not going to be the case. Of course, that Alabama does get taken out there. He does connect with a torpedo, but it's not enough to kill him outright, and that Alabama ends up flooding and burning to death thanks to the other destroyer's torpedoes that finished him off. But going back to what I was saying earlier about the torpedo reload, look at this. Storm Surge has got his torpedoes almost up again, and he's got another cruiser coming around this island. His hydro is up, so he can see this cruiser, and that cruiser has got to know he's detected because that little icon there is telling him. So this cruiser's decision to continue around this corner kind of blindly is a little surprising. You can see there he is being cautious. He's altering his speed there because he's pretty sure that there's a destroyer or two here. But Storm Surge is spotted there. This cruiser has come around, and now it's a Baltimore, so this is going to be a problem. You see there, Storm Surge takes a big hit, has his engine knocked out. That's what I was saying before about the fragility of this ship. And that Baltimore is in prime position to finish off and wreck Storm Surge. But Storm Surge has switched over for some reason to high explosive. He had the broadside of a Baltimore at very close range. He could be citadeling this guy with those guns. That Baltimore, though, he's got suddenly more important things to think about as he tries to torpedo beats against the other enemy destroyer. And because he took his eye off the prize and didn't keep his guns pointed at Storm Surge, he gets taken out by Storm Surge, who manages to cling to life with a sliver of health. And Storm Surge has managed to secure his 5th kill in this game, earning himself a Kraken Unleashed. The enemy team at this point doesn't have much left. They've got a destroyer, which is somewhere. They've got a couple of ships that are last seen very, very far away. But the enemy team, they're still with a points advantage because they have 2 caps. Not because they have more points, but because they're gaining points twice as fast. And if they manage to kill another one of their ships, then they can take that points lead back. And really, in a game like this, you gotta remember, you have to play to win, not just to play to kill all. Otherwise, you're going to end up in a situation where, yes, you got 1 ship left, but hey, guess what? They capped all 3 bases, and they're going to win out on points, and that guy earns himself a solo warrior. Now, Storm Surge is going to go ahead, and he's pushing up to the A cap point, the initial cap that he wanted to take in the first place and was driven away from by that high school fleet boat. And now he can get in here and he can secure it. And look at how much health that battleship has left. He's got nothing left, and he's spotted, so that ship gets taken out. That's going to secure pretty much this game for Storm Surge's team. They're in the process of capping both remaining enemy caps, so the enemy team's not going to be gaining any more points. The enemy team still has a destroyer left somewhere, and they still have that last ship there. The question is, where is the destroyer? As you can see where he was last spotted, but it's a destroyer. He could be anywhere. He could try and challenge one of these caps and get some more experience. He could also be trying desperately to torpedo the various battleships and cruisers that are back over there chasing his last remaining not destroyer ship, which is probably what I would be doing, laying down that fire. with torpedoes, trying to get some damage and kills in an effort to divert attention away from my ally. Storm Surge manages to secure a cap point solo cap there, his second one in the game, and that's going to be all the best XP when it comes down to it. Remember, people, capping is good, tasty XP. But it's not just the capping. In this case, he's got himself a First Blood, he's got himself a Confederate, and of course he's got himself a Kraken Unleashed. And look at all that damage too. So now he's going to go ahead with all of the caps capped in his team's control. There's nothing more for him to do in this game except go down and chase the enemy ships that are spotted. So he's going to head down that direction. So the Z52, in my opinion, could use a bit of a buff. Oh, hold on. He is spotted. That is the last enemy destroyer. He gets shots off there. That destroyer has got his guns pointed the other direction, so you know he was sailing this way. He wasn't paying attention. It is the gearing. Now, this could be a problem as he gets taken there. That gearing is on fire. He's burning down, but are they going to be able to... Can he kill him? Come on, get him. Yes, he finishes him off, but the gearing gets those last shots off and finishes off Storm Surge. Really, really kind of unfortunate there. Hey, but you know what? It was a tier 10 for a tier 10. Eye for an eye. And that now means that his team doesn't have to worry about torpedoes from a stealthy torpedo boat. But what I was saying was this ship does need a little bit of a buff because, as you saw here, it does take damage to modules. It eats armor piercing and high explosive way worse than any of the other destroyers. Personally, I would just take a longer smoke screen with this ship, but it is what it is. And his team manages to finish off that last enemy and secures a victory there. Look at that, 162,000 damage in this game. Devastating strike, double strike, Confederate, First Blood, and Kraken Unleashed. No high caliber, though. Surprisingly enough, 15 torpedo hits in that game. And he did manage to shoot down a couple of spotting aircraft to go with his 6 kills. Of course, with a medal repertoire like this, you would expect him to be top of the team for XP earned, and you would be correct at well over 2,000 base XP for the game. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you like the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me in the channel, and I encourage you to do so, you can become my supporter on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. $12 a year goes a long way to help support me and this channel grow, as well as new and exciting experiences. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email address. And if you'd like to watch me play various games live, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.